It's very good to hear the sound of a clicking clock somewhere. We have a microphone that's open there, but a reminder that I guess it's time for us to start with our ceremony today. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're joining us from. Today is a special day for us as the four organizing organizations. So the Migrant Forum in Asia, the Cross-Regional Center for Refugees and Migrants, the Global Research Forum on Diaspora and Transnationalism, and the Civil Society Action Committee, which has been running a certificate program for since September. This is when we started out this journey, and kind of officially, if you like, ended with the live inputs or the live webinars that we had in February, but still a lot of work has been happening in the last months to really wrap up. So maybe just the first thing to say is just, a round of applause wherever you are virtually and however you celebrate in wherever you are joining us from. We are really delighted that you could take time to be with us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are. And, without really taking too much time, I will be your moderator for this afternoon. My name is Paddy Sianga Knudsen, and I would like to welcome William Goss from the regional, who's the regional coordinator for the Migrant Forum in Asia, to give us some welcoming remarks. William, over to you.
Hi, hello. Hi, Paddy, can you hear me? I'm clear. Yeah. Your Excellency, Ambassador Swing, Paddy, Sada, Dr. Raj, everybody from the other co-organizers, CCRM, Action Committee, would like to thank you all today for joining, for making this possible. Just to say, this started off with just a conversation. It started off with a conversation at a difficult time. To say it was COVID, many people were stuck at homes. All of us were under lockdowns, and the online world was beginning to catch on in terms of webinars, conferences, conversations. And it was also the preparations for the regional consultations of the GCM, the Global Compact on Migration, that were in our sights. And it's a conversation between a colleague of mine and who actually was even moderating and in the first series, Roller, and then we reached out to Sada to say, look, why don't we socialize the Global Compact? Why don't we look at how we could get more people on the ground working on issues of migration, studying issues on migration, engaged with issues of migration on a daily basis. Let's get them involved in looking at the compact and getting their perspectives on this compact. And that was how this conversation started, how the global series came on. We did not know at the time we were taking it on that it would go on for so long. We did not think that so many people would be interested in it. We did not think that so many people would come in on as panelists on it. So in many ways, it was something that did not take a long time to plan, but something that took off as if it was being planned for a very long time. And I realized today, as we celebrate this, I realized the success of it was not what we did, but the success of it was the students who kept coming week after week after week. The students who kept coming to make it happen. And every time we finished one, we would say, 1 down, 23, 2 to go, 2 down, 21 to go. We kept doing a countdown like that. But it was amazing of how much appetite there was for this. And I think in a world where people look at indicators and goals today, I think this was a very, very important indicator for us to see how big an issue migration has become in the lives of communities everywhere. In a very real way, as borders have closed down and as migrants are moving even prior to, and the number of migrants were growing and people were looking at remittances, social remittances. Migration was never in the MDGs, then it was in the SDGs, then it was in the GCM, and now it's being talked about everywhere. And the COVID, we even got internal migration and the challenges well. So the discourse has just built exponentially. And we have been part of it. We have been part of that tidal wave of trying to understand what this concept is all about and how it is affecting our lives and our communities. And it's amazing of how much effort and how much interest is being put into this issue. So I'd really like to thank the students. I'd like to thank the students for making it possible, for coming and giving us that indicator that this is important, and for renewing our commitment. I think what was very important in this entire process is how the students, by coming week after week, renewed our own commitment and to the cause in a time where it was very easy to get depressed, very easy to wonder what's going to happen, very easy to slow down and get off the radar. But it was the students that kept coming back. The hunger for wanting to be part of something, for wanting to know more, for wanting to engage more, was what kept coming us back and increased our own commitment to this series. So I'd really like to thank all the students first. I'd like to thank all the panelists, and I'd like to thank people like Ambassador Swing, who actually, when he was still with the IOM, in a big way, set for many of us the standard in terms of energy that this issue requires, of how he would be there every time we called upon him. And when we called upon him and he was not available because he was somewhere out in the field, visiting some community, some country out there, advancing the issue, talking to governments, talking to policymakers, talking to migrants themselves. So it was people like Ambassador Swing who gave us the motivation to look at this issue in a more deeper level. And I'd like to thank people like Ambassador Swing. I'd like to thank my friend Shabri, who is here as well. I saw his name a little while ago, who's now with the ILO, who started this whole connection between Sada, myself, CCRM, and how that connection just took off. And so again, another big thank you there. I'd like to thank Sada, who's never says no to anything, and that was amazing how he's always said yes to anything that was proposed. So thank you all to the students. I hope we can continue in very different ways in looking at this issue. This issue is so real to our lives today, and it will be so real for generations to come. We are, I really believe, in dealing with the issue of migration, we are putting down a blueprint for a different world, a world not demarcated by borders, but a world that is more embracing of inclusivity, of communities, of difference. I think by getting involved in migration, we are creating that new world. We are creating that new world, and it's fantastic to be able to think and reflect upon this in a time of crisis, which gives us the power then to imagine and to hope of all that is possible and all that we can be. So thank you again. Thank you all for being part of this.
William, it's always just intriguing and gripping to listen to you. And, William goes without much introduction. I think he is that household name that we have. And some people may be wondering, so, Paddy, you keep on saying, who is William? So I think I take the pleasure to just quickly say something about, William. So he's an educator, a sociologist, a human rights advocate. And I think that he's an international network organizer. but really even from, you know, from us who have been partnering with him at GRFDT, for us, we feel that as his bio says, you know, he's really that voice that tries to, you know, to bring out and speak on behalf of grassroots organizations, but also really getting back to how do we promote the rights and the well-being of migrant workers. And I have been inspired with you throughout this journey, inspired also to, you know, to take on the ball of supporting the not just the moderation, but in the background as well, the zeal that he has, that you know, we drove through. Every time we had to pick panelists, he said it's very important, you know, that we are not here to pat ourselves on the back, but we're here to remind ourselves what was the Global Compact for Migration meant to achieve. And that question he really rides through, not just in, you know, what he delivers when he speaks, but really drives through also the conversations that we have had as part of this. So very delighted, you know, to gain from this experience. We also know that, you know, he chaired the Migrants' Rights International, which is an international NGO with the constitutional status within the United Nations Economic and Social Council. And really for over 20 years, he's been at the forefront, like I have said, of international advocacy efforts, engaging and influencing international multilateral organizations. And he represents, you know, MFA in the Global Coalition on Migration. And, you know, we also know that the GCM particularly itself, you know, was born out of these collaborations that William has been in the forefront as its initial member around the Global Forum on Migration and Development, as well as, you know, outfits such as the, you know, the People's Global Action on Migration, Development and Human Rights processes that some may have even forgotten that these things were there. But, you know, seeing the seeds that you have sown, William, we are really delighted that, you know, we can share, we can get to share into your wisdom, in, you know, in driving this agenda forward. So thank you very much, William, for just always coming out and reminding us, you know, where we need to be holding on to as we continue talking about whether it's objectives or targets or bringing people around the conversation on the Global Compact for Migration. Another voice that has been extremely important for us in this journey is our next speaker, who's going to give us some reflections. And this is Dr. Raj Badoy, who holds a PhD in economics. And after teaching for several years in universities in the Caribbean and African countries, I'm glad to say that she put a footprint in my country, Zambia. She worked as a senior economist in international organizations such as the United Nations Development Program and other parts of the United Nations system. As an economist, also focusing on Caribbean and African development issues. She has worked on migration and development, and currently she's an international independent consultant that's based in the Dominica, but will be talking to us from the US. And she focuses on international migration issues in small island states in the Caribbean, including cross-border trade. So, you know, a wealth, a full package there as, you know, a former senior advisor on Africa, but also in different capacities that she has played. And I have leaned on her even in just in side talks, whether she's, you know, grappling with how to be a grandmother on one side, but also really how to question policies that have been made out there. So very happy to ask Dr. Raj to give us her reflections. Dr. Raj, over to you.
Thank you very much, Patty. And thank you. Good morning or greetings to all of you from Washington, D.C. First, let me thank you for giving me this opportunity to say a few words on this very important and emotional. I feel quite emotional on this occasion. We have traveled. We have really had this journey. It may sound very long, but I think the time just flew. And it was not only, it was in September when we started, or August or September. We're into the new year. Yeah. Can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? And we are into the new year, and we have come to now this end of this program. I was asked to, let me first recognize and acknowledge the presence of Ambassador Swing, William, Gois, Dr. Sada, and Paddy, GRFDT team, and many other people, and indeed the students who are now going to be graduates as they get their piece of paper. And other participants, family members of these students, or other attendees who have been attending the seminars and so on. So I'm very, very happy to be given this chance. The few things that I want to say, firstly, I have to say we have been inspired by the presence and the contribution of William Goyes and, of course, Ambassador Swing and many other panelists and outstanding people and experts on migration from international organizations such as the IOM, ILO, academics, researchers, civil society organizations, migrants themselves, and the diaspora people. So there's a whole lot of people who have come into this, and we have had the opportunity to engage with them, to dialogue with them, to have conversation with them. So I find that this program is unique. It's significant not only because it has a very important area that it touched upon, which is the Global Compact, which took a long time to come into finalization. And the students were given a little taste of how these international negotiations are actually done. And I would like to focus here. I would like to point out that Shabri was instrumental in taking us, and William, of course. William was part of as civil society representative in this negotiation process. So I think we had the taste of not only academicians, scholars, researchers, and other experts, but also people who were really there in negotiating. Myself, as part of the civil society, not representative, but had the opportunity sitting with William and other people to see how this process then, of course, it was the Global Forum on Migration, and then it came into GCM. So what I want to say is two things, couple of things. Firstly, what is the significance of this program from the point of view of the students and from the point of view of the outcome, and where do we go from here? From the point of view of the students, yes, they have learned, and I'm sure we have all learned. Actually, this is a collective learning. I have learned a lot because I would probably not have gone through each single objective as carefully as I did because I was sitting in these. I learned from those who explained what these objectives are about. Then we had some analysis on that. We also got some understanding into what are the loopholes, where the weaknesses are, where there are, as they say, fine prints, okay, the fine prints. It might sound great, and to remember that this is just essentially a gentleman's agreement. This is not a legally binding document. So there are challenges ahead. So as William said, what we have done is to socialize it, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to say democratize it, but we have socialized it in the sense that people have access to this document and they understand what this is. Now, we have done a lot of networking. We have benefited from people's individual networks, associations networks, organizations networks. And of course, GRFDT is instrumental. As William is saying, Dr. Sada never says no to anything. Come in. It's a cooperative effort. It's a collective effort. And when you open up, and there's a big lesson here for migration too, countries receiving migrants, you have to open up. There are benefits. We each have something to offer. We cannot have a closed society. And there will be a day, perhaps not in my life, when we will have a world borderless. We have capital borderless and we have technology borderless, but we do not have humans societies going borderless from labor point of view. So this is an area, and this is hopefully one of these days we will experience it. The other thing I liked about this course was sort of experiential journey, because all of us, or some of us, or most of us have either some kind of direct migration experience or had someone who migrated, whether it's a friend or a family. So there is this, it takes you into the heart of this process, the migration process, and also relate really nobly to the migrants who take this perilous journey, who who make such sacrifices, we can relate to them. We can feel now what they feel rather than they being a treasure box to send some money home. So it's more than that. It is how we relate, appreciate, and how we connect to them, how we see them. So what it has done is, at least for me, I can speak, I feel a lot more humane and humble towards this whole journey, rather than saying I know it all. So this has been great. For students, again, I would say, ask yourself, why did you opt for this program? Why did you sign up for this program? And how this program has changed you? Think about those. These are some of the, it's not a challenge. This is some of the inspiration. If we ask ourselves, why did I go for that? And what have I got out of it? Will then pave the way for where I want to head. What do I want to do? How can I make a little input? Because everybody is capable of making inputs. And here I would say, how to socialize further the compact in your communities, perhaps using local languages, if possible, translating it into local languages, to see how you can discuss this with your communities, especially some of the conventions, because the compact is based on this. At the back of that is all the conventions which have member states have signed these conventions, whether it's the Convention on the Refugees, Convention against discrimination, against trafficking, against smuggling, child rights of the child. So it's conventions on the rights. So I think it's good to revisit and also to sensitize and to socialize these into your own. Sorry, William, I'm taking your word because I like it. I don't want to say democratize. Before I would say democratizing it, but I say socialize it because it's at the community level. So from that point of view, I think the graduates or the students have quite a bit to do. And they can sensitize, they can undertake appropriate migration-related studies. And remember, one of the backbone of making correct migration or right migration management decisions is to have data, to have information. So perhaps in that way, students can help in getting some information, whether it's on the net, and see how find a little space in the policy world at the local level, at the district level, or at the state level, and largely at the country level. So this is where, and as regards, I think, I don't know if I've spoken more than that. Paddy, do I have a couple of more minutes? Okay. So by ending, so I think it has been a tremendous program. It has really been a great program because we have had the opportunity to share the knowledge and wisdom of people from different walks of life, people from different organizations and so on. So this has been really commendable. And so in the end, I would say that I wish the students good luck in your pursuits. And this is a time for you to celebrate your achievements and to be we are proud of your achievements because you made it happen. As William was saying, if you didn't come to the class or to those webinars, we wouldn't have anything to say. So in fact, we are grateful to you as making it possible and for your support and your dedication. I'm sure most of you are working or graduate students or have family obligations or taking care of children in this pandemic and so on. But regardless of the challenges that you may have, you have persisted. And I have to say this is a tremendous, tremendous inspiration for us as well to be steadfast. You commit for something, you stay steadfast, and you see the results. And I would end my remarks by taking a quote from Mr. Mandela's quotes. And to begin the quote, after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. So you work hard, follow your passion, and dedicate your time to achieving something which really, really will give you satisfaction. And all the best and congratulations to to you students in particular, to your families, to your friends, and to our colleagues, and to all those well-wishers. There was so much. It's just amazing. There was so much goodwill. I mean, I have not experienced so much goodwill where people dedicated their time, their energy, their knowledge, their wisdom with us. So thank you very much indeed. And I stop it here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raj, for sharing your reflections and your wisdom. And indeed, still a steep climb that we have, even though we have reached this point. So I think we are delighted that we could have, those reflections from you. And thank you for journeying with us. I would now like to introduce our guest of honor, who is going to give us the inaugurate speech, Ambassador William Lacy Swing, who has been a diplomat, not just for the United Nations, but for the United States of America for over half a century. And he has been a 6-time ambassador under 4 of the 10 US presidents whom he served. He has been a special representative to 2 of the United Nations Secretary General, as well as the chief of the UN Peacekeeping Mission. He has been ambassador to countries such as South Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria, Liberia, Haiti, also coincidentally that we talk about, we get a quote from Nelson Mandela. He was just named ambassador to Nelson Mandela shortly before he was released from prison. So an important point there in his life as well. And I mean, we can go on and on, but, we also know Ambassador Swing for his work as the Director General for the International Organization for Migration, which became a United Nations agency under his leadership in 2016. And I had the privilege and pleasure of meeting Ambassador Swing when I worked with the International Organization for Migration in China twice. A delight for a very busy man. He still had a lot of time to share his reflection and wisdom. And even in his retirement, we have seen the efforts that he has given, not just to us here as his friends at the different organizations that work around migration, but also to add his wisdom to what the migration space is shaping out to. And so he was with the International Organization for Migration for a very long time until he completed his 2nd term in 2018. And under his leadership, the organization expanded its membership and indeed its global footprint to becoming that UN agencies. He's been celebrated by many foreign governments in Europe and around the world, in Africa and many other places, and been given, various honors and always, just finding his time as usual to share his wisdom. And now, without much further ado, I would just like to ask Ambassador William Lacy Swing to give us his inaugurate speech. Over to you, Ambassador Swing.
Thank you very much, Patty. As always, you're far too generous concerning myself. I'd like to say I'm happy to be with you again and with William Goist and others who I know. I'm a bit rusty because I've been out of migration for about 2 years now, but it's exciting to be able to return to the issue because it is truly one of the mega trends of this century. And I'd like to congratulate these students. I'm so pleased that they have shown such interest in migration, because it's going to continue to be a mega trend of the 21st century. I would like, and people who know me know that I always have 3 points, not 1, not 2, not 4, but 3 points. And these 3 points today, I'm going to talk about 3 worlds, 2 worlds in which we live, and a 3rd world which we have together to try to establish. The first world is a world on the move. There are more people migrating today, moving across borders or moving within countries than at any other time in recorded history. there's about 300 million international migrants, at least 750 million domestic migrants. Nobody really knows. In fact, China alone has more domestic migrants than there are international migrants in the world. So still the international migrants since the 1960s only constitute 3% of the world's population. But people get fearful anyway when migrants start coming their way. The reason it's only 3%, hasn't changed, is because the numbers are greater, but that's because the population quadrupled in the 20th century, which has never happened before. So numerically, they're more, percentage-wise, it's about 3%. Now, to give you some idea of the importance of migration, if these 300 million international migrants were to constitute themselves as a country, they would be about number 6 or 7 in the world. They would have a population larger than that of Brazil and slightly smaller than our neighbor here in Malaysia, Indonesia. The amount of remittances or money that they send home, it grows every year. So my statistic is probably out of date. It used to be about $600 billion a year. That is twice the amount of all international economic assistance. It's equal to all direct foreign investment. And it is roughly the equivalent of the gross domestic product of a smaller member state in the European Union. So the authorities tell us that about 50% of all the CEOs, heads of corporations in the United States, about half of them are either migrants or the offspring of migrants. So I'll give you some idea of the perspective. So there are several driving forces that is going to ensure that migration remains a major trend of our time. Demography, you have an aging global north, need of workers at all skill levels, and you have a largely unemployed, youthful population expanding global south with very, very little job creation. So the factor is there. The demand for labor, you have labor shortages in the north and persons looking for work in the south. You have the disparities, economic, social disparities between north and south. You have the degradation of the environment, climate change. You have distance shrinking technology, which allows you to get quick. You have the digital, everybody knows immediately where the jobs are, how to get there. And then you have, unfortunately, desperation, a driving force, survival migration for people in many cases, sub-Saharan Africa, where I've spent most of my career, the Middle East, Venezuela, Central America, Myanmar, etc. So this means that people have either given up on the economy, they're the victims of gang warfare, or they just don't see any future and they see opportunities abroad. Disasters is another, natural and man-made disasters, stretching from the Western Bulge of Africa to Southeast Asia, where I'm living now, with no prospect in sight of a short to medium solution to any of these conflicts. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm afraid I'm not. So migration is going inexorably lead to a more integrated world. The world is going to become much more multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multilingual. And it's going to be not so much a problem or a crisis to be solved as a reality, a human reality that we have to learn to manage And I'm so happy to be and want to congratulate all these people getting certificates today for their interest in this major, major subject. Now, that's the good news, the factual side. The bad news is that we also live in a world in the midst of a perfect storm. That's a somewhat overused phrase, but I want to use it here. A world in the midst of a perfect storm. So what do I mean by that, and what are some of the elements? We have the greatest forced migration since World War II. My colleagues in UNHCR tell me, and these statistics probably have changed, but there are some 68 million people forced to move, about 33 million refugees, and 43 million so-called IDPs, internally displaced persons. Now, bear in mind that not more than 1% of the world's refugees are resettled annually. Refugee returns are at a 30-year low, and the average camp time for a refugee is about 25 years. You've got a further 75 million people, not too far from here in Malaysia, who are living precariously only 1 meter above sea level. One of the 10 Pacific Island nations, Kiribati, is actually buying land in Fiji to take its people when the sea level rises. That's how serious it is. We have unprecedented and increasing anti-migrant sentiment, xenophobia that endangers the lives of migrants and deprives us of the contributions that migrants make. We have harmful, misleading pronouncements and actions by national leaders that perpetuate harmful stereotypes. We have human traffickers and smugglers because there are not enough legal pathways for migrants to move. We are subsidizing these terrible travel agents of death, smugglers and traffickers. We have an appalling dearth of political courage, a lack of public confidence in government's ability to manage migration, and a serious erosion of moral authority, including even in the UN Security Council. We have violation of international human law on all sides, and many countries are building walls rather than bridges, and increasingly populist nationalist rhetoric is turned on migrants. So we have what Javier Solana used to call migration and refugee amnesia. We have forgotten that most of us and our families at one time or the other were migrants. I think that the Hungarian president has forgotten. He's built walls around Hungary, and he's forgotten the 250,000 Hungarians who fled to former Yugoslavia in those days. So we at IOM and UNHCR, we were founded in 1951 to take Europeans ravaged by the Second World War to safe harbors and new lives. We have tried over the years to keep the numbers high. We fell down quite a bit to the previous administration in Washington, but we're headed back now to what were historic levels of more than 100,000 a year. Now, the third world, so you got the world on the move, and you got the world in the middle of this perfect storm, all of these negative elements out there. But there's the third world out there that you and I and those who like-minded people, we have to construct and establish this world. And that's called a world on the high ground, making the case for migrants and migration as being in the interest of the migrants and also in the interest of both the country of origin and the country of destination. And so there are a number of ways in which we can contribute to rational management of international migration. First of all, we have to create the evidence base. We have to give governments the arguments that make the case that migration is important to development and development is important to migration and migrants. Now, we had a recent study by the McKinsey Global Institute and IOM that said that they concluded that although migrants, the international migrants, as I said, they're only 3% of the world's population, they produce 9% of global GDP, gross domestic product. And moreover, that is 4% more than they would have produced had they stayed home. So the case is quite clear there, it seems to me. And almost all of the companies that migrants are creating companies at twice the rate of native-born Americans, according to Forbes 500 reporting. Migrants help to address the demographic deficit that is growing in European OECD countries and in Japan and elsewhere. The data shows from the UN that the European population in other developed countries is going to reduce by as much as 35% by about the year 2060. The populations of Europe and Japan have already started to shrink, and they tell us that Japan will lose a third of its population well before the end of the century. And Europe already has the world's oldest population. And as someone in my age group, I'm very sensitive to that. we simply lack what's called the replacement rate. There are more people dying than being born. So immigration, I can tell you as an American, has allowed the United States to maintain its population levels and to avoid the demographic deficit that so many countries face, despite the policies of the previous administration. So the longer term health of the United States and many other countries is going to depend largely on migrants. I was told when I was in Geneva with IOM that even our retirement and social security system in Switzerland relies on the taxes that migrant workers pay. Of course, most of those migrants are from Europe, but still they're paying taxes, and that makes the difference. So I think that when German Chancellor Angela Merkel, for whom I have enormous admiration, she declared, "Wir schaffen das." She recognized that the 1.5 million migrants who crossed the Mediterranean from Libya in 2015, that they constituted less than 1% of Europe's population of 650 million people. Therefore, not a crisis, but a manageable reality. Of course, she, I think, must have assumed that a few other of the EU member states would come forward and help her. But of course, they didn't. Sweden and Austria tried for a while, but then they backed away too. So she's shown work. People have been put into apprenticeships. They've been hired by big companies like Siemens. Those who wanted to go home went home. And they've even started teaching German to the family members, the spouses and the children who will come to join them, knowing that families are happier than people probably living alone. So she's handled that beautifully, despite the fact that she got no help from anyone else of the 27 member states at the time. I remember being convoked to Bangkok in 2015, myself, High Commissioner for Refugees, because the Thai government, the Malaysian government, the Indonesian governments these countries were very concerned that they had 7,000 Rohingya migrants in boats off their shores. Now, this is a population of these three countries of 300 million people. And there were only 7,000 of these people on the ships. Now, we had doctors and other people waiting on the shores of all three countries to help them with managing this refugee flow. But it shows you how exhausted people become very early on when they see ships of migrants and refugees offshore. So I think the other thing we have to do if we're going to build this world on the high ground, we have to try to destroy stereotypes in the public mind. These stereotypes put migrants in danger. They deny us the historical contribution of migrants and the development contributions they can make. Now, the stereotypes are various. First stereotype is migrants are not needed. We can do it on our own. No, that's not true because we see the declining populations, the demographics in countries like my own and in Europe and in places like Japan and other countries here in Asia. The other stereotype is migrants steal our jobs. No, they don't. They take the jobs that our people don't want to do, what's called the dirty, difficult, and dangerous jobs, the 3D jobs, the ones that our citizens are too high and proud to accept. In addition, they themselves create many jobs. You know, John Kenneth Galbraith, a great historian, he said in one of his writings that migration is the world's most effective poverty reduction strategy. That's very important in today's world. The other stereotype is that migrants bring a criminal element into our communities. The truth is the opposite. Migrants commit fewer crimes than people who were born in the country to which they've immigrated, because the last thing that migrants want to do is to face a police officer or a police station or a judicial court. They want to avoid any conflict. They're there to make money to send home to the family who eventually can join them. There's another one saying that they exploit our welfare system. Well, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund in recent studies showed that migrants contribute more in taxes than they take and than they consume in social services. So the sooner a migrant can have a job, the sooner they will pay tax. The sooner they become a citizen, the sooner they'll be able to vote. So political parties ought to be interested in the migrants because maybe they will vote for my party, but they don't see it that way. The other one is that migrants pose a security threat. I can tell you, there is absolutely no evidence that any of the 3.5 million refugees that UNHCR and IOM have brought to the United States since 1980 have ever committed a terrorist act. In fact, most terrorist attacks in the United States over the past several years are what's called homegrown attacks that nationals, American nationals committed. San Bernardino, California, Orlando, Florida, and in Europe, Paris, Nice, Barcelona, Brussels, etc. So the large majority of all migrants their migration occurs regularly, voluntarily, and safely. But insufficient legal pathways for migrants indirectly encourages and indirectly subsidizes the irregular migration and the work of human smugglers and traffickers. They earn about $35 billion a year off the backs of migrants. So let me conclude. I've been a bit long and I apologize for that. But I want to go back to my original thesis that migration and migrants are not so much a problem or a crisis to be solved. Rather, that it is a human reality to be managed. It's as old as humankind, and it is as young as today, a human reality to be managed. It's part of our DNA. And I hope that we will treat migrants, we will add to our DNA, DNH, do no harm. I think that would be the main thing. And I would conclude by a final point that migration is inevitable. 3 points. Inevitable, given the driving forces I described. It is necessary if jobs are to be filled, skills to be available, and economies to flourish. And it is desirable if we have the right policies to manage migration. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Swing, thank you very much for those words of not just reflecting on the many issues that migration touches on, but I think in a way also I think evoking thoughts around how relevant the Global Compact for migration then is with the kind of problems that the world has on its hands in dealing with migration challenges, but really opening up the space more for opportunity, looking at migration as migrants look at it, an opportunity to improve livelihoods for everyone, where they're going and where they're coming from. So thank you very much for sharing with us your wisdom today and for being with us today. And with that, I would like us to just go to the next item in the program, which is celebrating the students. And for this, I would like to introduce Miss Mary Osato, who is from Nigeria and is a lawyer and has always had a passion for migration and has been working in the area of migration for the last couple of years with civil society network on migration and development. And she's going to introduce the next item on the agenda. Mary, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much, Patty, for that awesome introduction. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depends on your time zone. Like you've heard, my name is Osato Mary. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm also a student convocating today. Firstly, I want to say thank you to the organizers of this program for the opportunity to anchor this segment of today's ceremony. As we all know, it's been 6 wonderful months of learning. I'm sure when we started the 6 months training, so many of us felt like it was going to be forever, like the 6 months would never come to an end. But here we are today sharing the joys and appreciating that we've successfully completed the 6 months online certificate course on the GCM. So in the spirit of joy sharing, the organizers of this program compiled videos of some students sharing their views, narratives, and reflections of the course. So I urge you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this video. See you after the video.
Nepal. Namaste, myself Vikas Kunyana from Nepal.
Hello everyone, Namaste, I'm Vipana Thapa from Nepal.
Hello everyone, I'm Dhriti Mehta from Canada and India.
Hello everyone, my name is Dinesh Chand. I am from India.
Good day to you all. My name is Fadi Zinata. I am a Zimbabwean migrant living in South Africa.
Hello to all. My name is Gamze Aktuna. I'm from Turkey.
Hi, this is Indrani. I'm from India.
I'm James Asuma. I'm in Ghana.
I'm Leila Miskelindi, a GCM participant from Italy.
Hi, this is Moitri Poti. I'm from India.
Hi everyone, my name is Moelua Joseph and I work with the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment's Migrant Resource Center in Nigeria.
Hello everyone, my name is Naveed Haroni and I'm from Malaysia.
My name is Mary, I am a Nigerian.
Hi, my name is Rajshekhar Chappi.
Hello everyone, I am Rajesh Ranjan from India.
Hi, this is Ranjit Ranadash from Bangladesh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. My name is Rojas Shirakumutende. I am from Kenya.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sarita from New Delhi, India.
Hello everyone, I am Sri Lakshmi Mohanty, research student at Central University of Gujarat, India.
Namaste everyone, I am Swarna Kumar Jha from Nepal.
I'm Dr. Tatiana Hnatyuk, a senior researcher of the Institute for Demography and Social Studies of the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine.
Everybody, my name is Zacharias Sambahe. I am the Country Director for Action and Senate.
I want to say that I greatly benefited from the course on the Global Compact for Migration. Not only did it provide us with an understanding at the macro level of the theory and the methodology involved, but also of the various moving parts that collectively come together in the GCM to address the many facets of international migration, which is already very complex. Second, I want to thank you for the wonderful range of speakers that you provided, everybody who had volunteered to give us students the benefit of their experience and their expertise, representatives from UN bodies, from NGOs, civil society organizations, the IOM, and even migrants themselves that helped to shape our perspective. So thank you very much for this.
My takeaway from the certificate program on GCM is that generation of accurate migration data is key to the development of humane and evidence-based policies on migration. If I had to pick one GCM objective to focus on in Nigeria, I would prioritize Objective 2, which is to minimize the adverse drivers and structural factors that compel people to leave their country of origin.
One of the key takeaways from this program, for me personally, has been its emphasis on the coordination between domestic and international actors in policy-making efforts that allow us to unlock global achievements in migration regulation practices. While all 23 objectives of the GCM are of critical importance and are indispensable, Objective 5 is crucial for a country like Canada, where enhancing pathways for regular migration is a priority.
The certificate program on GCM is a massive experience for those who want to understand migration phenomenon. It's a unique chance to learn from exceptional experts coming from all over the world, the roots and consequences of migration and intervention management. The program is perfect for those who are new to this field or those who already know about it but want to refresh their knowledge and want to have a best view regarding migration and GCM's objectives. I think it's probably one of the most engaging programs I had the chance to attend. That's why I truly recommend it.
I suggest who are working in migrant issues must join these type of programs in future. Even I join my hands to this institute programs in future also.
I am so happy to join GCM certificate program as I am working in the field of safe labor migration last 13 years. I must say that this course has given me a lot. Especially I have learned internal migration, external migration, and the problem for the safe and secure migration, and the problem of the waste theft, that how it is going on, and also the role of sending country and the receiving country, and also the role of international NGOs and human rights organization and the civil society.
I've learned a lot from this course and I've enjoyed the diverse panels and the expertise that clearly has been demonstrated in each and every presentation that we have had over the past weeks. I look forward to more programs such as this in the future. Thank you.
It is an honor to be part of the certificate program in GCM. I would like to thank the entire program team for providing me this opportunity. The certificate program in GCM was not an easy task for the organizers. Organizing the live discussions through a virtual platform for a period of 6 months, and in every discussion, new faces of panelists and a notable number of participants, including students, was possible only because of the dedication and group work of organizers. The program has set a milestone.
Inspiration is a word that describes my impressions about the first GCM program. It was so great pleasure to meet so many passionate people who shared with us their work in migration sphere. I'd like to highlight how many talented women dedicate their professional life to migrants assistance. Ukraine has not been a member of the GCM yet, and joining the compact is a necessary step for our country. We, with my colleague, pay attention of our Ukrainian authority on this. I'd like to thank to all people who worked on the first GCM program, the front and the back offices. I wish you all the best, and I hope it's only the start.
The certificate program on GCM is unique and one of its kind. This is because this is the first training or program on GCM since the adoption of the resolution on the Global Compact in 2018. The certificate program offered us, the participants, with a unique opportunity where we had access to diverse facilitators who dissected the objectives of the compact one by one.
I'm happy to share my thoughts and experience. The journey was very interesting, engaging, and knowledgeable during this course, where I learned basics, functionalities, practicalities, and in-depth insights on migration and diaspora. Among others, most interesting was the interaction with groups, individuals, academia, activists, and defenders from around the world. Above all, it is the knowledge on the subject that I will continue to explore and write about. In future, I would like to focus my studies on social security policies for migrants in India and Nepal. And I would like to say that the time I spent during sessions was very engaging, informative, and interactive.
Finally, I want to say a very big thank you to the organizers of this course. Thank you very much for the opportunity to learn more on the GCM, and also to my colleagues convocating today. I say a big congratulations to us. Remember, we are expected to hold on to this knowledge we have received strongly and work out implementable strategies to ensure the aim of the GCM is achieved, not only in our country, but the world at large.
All right, guys, I'm sure you enjoyed the video. Congratulations to everybody. So in concluding this session of today's agenda, I humbly urge every one of us convocating today that by this convocation, we have been given the mantle to spread and implement this good news of the GCM we have received today. We're expected to do this. We're expected to go forth and create history in ensuring that there's an improved international cooperation in managing migration. We're also expected to go forth to create history in ensuring that the contributions of migrants and migration is strengthened to promote sustainable development. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you very much.
Mary Osato, that was a brilliant and very moving video. Thank you very much for sharing those reflections, and also to the various students that participated in, giving this feedback, but also raising some new challenges, not just for your countries, for the region, for the world, and also for the various actors in the migration space. So thank you very much for taking time and opening up to share these reflections. Much appreciated. And now we're going to move to a section of our program where we award the various certificates. And in the virtual space, if we were present in a location, we would have had the opportunity of our guests of honor and also our eminent speakers who are here with us to shake hands with you. And unfortunately, we're not able to do that, but we would like to just screen a very short video that will be showing, the video will be short, not too long. That just reflects all the participants to the certificate program because we think that it's extremely important that we recognize your presence. This is your day. If we were sitting in a room, we would have a cheer and loud sounds from your side, but because of the virtual space, we're not able to. But do please feel free, and we will have a moment for us to do that also in the chat. Rakesh, over to you for us to just celebrate our graduates. Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear me. Amrita Pana, Ananda Majuda, and Antika Nishad Joshi, Annabel Robello, Aratrika Ganguly, Arun Kumar Roy, Ashok Rana, Aviman Singh Lama, Bharati Marwa, Bikash Dugana, Busra Gulsa Sahin, Chote Lal Yadav, Chiamaka Rita Agpuagwo, Chiombegwa Gapare, Chitra Rawat, Driti Mehta, Dr. Sumia Rajan, Rakesh, I think we need to move it. Okay. Dr. Dinesh Chand, Dr. Sarita, Dr. Tulika Gao, Eteme Ogonono Marisho Fabrice, Eustace Imoyera James, Farhat Jahan, Farirai Zinatsa, Game Vindalange Geth Madushan, Gamze Aktuna, Greshama Pius Raju, Hiba Irma Kir, Indrani Pal, Innocent Duru, James Oscar Salazar, James Asuma, Jeto Nwadi, Gina Sama, Josephine Tay Shu Yuan, Kamina Tandeka, Karishma Ramchiari, Khadijat Bolane Emmanuel, Kishley Kirti, Leza, Leila Kawar, Leila Meskelindi, Lijo Lal, Lizette Teresa Chinko, Rinku Ayapa, Maitreya Patti, Maria Gargano, Menakshi Kumari, Melissa Garabiles, Miyinolua Joseph, Mutende Rogers, Nawid Haroni, Nekamal Dewagan, Nilambar Badal, Oneme Bright Ogenetega, Osato Hanwe Mary Igbisonsun, Paramita Batereja, Patricia McKenna Jones, Peter Barnabas, Raja Shekhar Chapidi, Rajesh Rajan, Ranjit Chandradath, Richard Obedi, Ritusha Srivastava, Rola Segaya, Sabina Lucky, Samiksha, Samuel Ageyemang Owusu, Sana Tabasam, Sarath Velu J, Sarita Katri, Shahanaz Parven, Shrelaxmi Mohanty, Siva Prasash TR, Shmitesh Mishra, Solal Mahbubi, Subir Rana, Susanna Ghosh Mitra, Swarna Kumar Jha, Tetiana Hatnuk, Vanetta Rodriguez, Bipana Tapa, Zakaria Sambake, Zivka Deleva, Eno Asien, Soab Mohammed Salman, And I have also learned that I probably need to take a lesson in pronunciation in terms of the names. So apologies for any names that were mispronounced, but I think we have gotten the spellings correct. Also, just to say, if there's any spelling corrections that are needed, please, we would ask you to get in touch with Rakesh, who would be able to assist on that. So thank you very much. I think we are really such a delight. Congratulations to the 91 students. We note that, you know, more than half of the students are female. So that's a very important note to take. And, you know, we are cutting across 20 countries across the globe, from all parts of the world, who participated in the virtual classrooms, but also in the webinars, presented various assignments, and just engaged in these last 6 months. And with that, let's just take some time now to hear from our, I see Sarita, you have a hand up. You know, it is your graduation, so if we can give you a minute to come in. Sarita Casey? Okay, maybe it was an error. Okay, with that, let's move on to the next part in our program, and that's for us to hear from the organizing institutions. And I would like to call upon the Cross-Regional Center for Refugees and Migrants, Fahar Al-Abdallah, who is the Regional Advocacy Coordinator at Insan Associate, hosting the Cross-Regional Center for Refugees and Migrants, an important partner for us. And Farah has been, you know, has experience in working with local and international organizations, as well as community members and leaders. She's a community specialist who has worked around developing programs looking at cultural, educational, and social and demographic data. Farah, are you here with us?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Please go ahead.
So thank you so much for this program. We really value our partnership with you on this very important program, stressing on the need of the continuity of these initiatives and activities. It is very needed to keep working together cross-regionally. This is not a one-party job. We need to stay together, coordinate together, and take action together. The success of our calls and demands feed on our commitment and passion to work in support of the rights of migrants and refugees. We see the success of this program, and we stress on the need for more steps in this direction. More people need to learn, know, and take action. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Farah, for those remarks. And now I will cross over to our friends from the Civil Society Action Committee and introduce Clara Keller Scupian, who is the Policy and Communications Officer in the Policy Department at the International Catholic Migration Commission. And there she works, also splitting her time with the Secretariat of the Civil Society Action Committee, a very important member also in the undertaking of this program. And for those who need a bit more information, the Civil Society Action Committee is a global platform for civil society engagement on policy, migration policy and governance, and as well as the Civil Society Coordinating Office of the Global Forum on Migration and Development. Clara, are you here with us?
I am. Thank you very much, Paddy. I hope you can hear me well.
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I thank you really for this very inspiring ceremony, and congratulations to all of you, to all the students on behalf of the Action Committee as one of the co-organizers. And thanks, of course, to everybody who worked behind the scenes to make this possible, to MFA, to RFDT for leading this, Paddy, for the very inspiring moderation, and William, of course, throughout the series. And thank you, really, all of you, dear students, for engaging in this crazy adventure and pushing us, the co-organizers, to really engage with you and do more and actually keep up with you. This has been a marathon, and without all of you, we wouldn't have done it. And I think we can really say that the series has absolutely exceeded our expectations, and there's been so much engagement and enthusiasm around it from broad civil society, from our members, but also from governments or international organizations and some of our partners there who've been very attentively following this series and who kept coming back to us and asking us about the next session when we were late with the mailing, for example. So we've really seen how much it has inspired all the people around us. So really, thank you and congratulations for leading all of us in this. Of course, as many have said today, this is only the beginning, and I think it was Dr. Raj who said that there's many more hills to climb, and yes, of course, that is the case. But really, this ceremony today inspires all of us to continue this hard work on the ground and to continue this conversation. And I think you've heard, and Joanna has put it in the chat box, I believe, earlier, and we'll be talking a lot more about this, but this series with you has led to also to the identification of our joint civil society priorities and challenges, and has inspired us to come up with this new broad series of webinars, first of all, but much more to come. And we really want to invite you to stay with us, to join this global conversation and everything that will follow. This is really a beginning, and we need all of you for that. We need you to engage in the implementation of the GCM and these global conversations to move forward together. So thank you really, and congratulations again.
Clara, thank you very much for that, and also just, you know, for always we thought was a prompt way of bringing out the information about the webinar, and just, you know, being very supportive also throughout the process. So thank you. I would like now to ask William to give us some remarks, starting with you, William, and then I'll move on to Dr. Sada in a bit. William, if you could give us some remarks, as well as, you know, talking a bit about looking forward. William, are you with us? Okay, so maybe we may have lost.
We have Sabri here. If we can also.
Okay, William is back. William is back, and then yes, I was actually going to ask for Shabri afterwards as well. So William, over to you.
Hi, thanks, Patty. Sorry, I had a problem with unmuting, but
it's all right.
Thanks all, and look to the students that prepared the video, or whoever prepared that video. That was fantastic. I never imagined. I didn't have the faintest idea that it had that kind of an impact. So it was fantastic just to see that video. Brought back very fond memories. And now I get what Raj said, that this is emotional as well. So thank you for that. Just to say to the students, we have continued from that series. Your co-organizers, now we are running another series of 5 pertinent thematic areas on migration that came out of this series. And Sada and myself have already started talking, and it looks like we will do another GCM series with coming up soon. So for those who would like to look, inform your friends, networks of others of this opportunity, feel free to keep in touch, and we will put out more information about this in the coming days. But again, thanks all to the students and to everybody else. Patty, fantastic moderating with you, fantastic that you came in, and fantastic that you took in the challenges as well as they came in. But thanks to all. It's really been a fantastic journey.
Thank you, William, for that. And before I ask Dr. Sada to take the floor, I think something very important to be said here. I was just saying in another chat how it was really, we're really writing off three people and maybe even more taking on their intuition. Sometimes you have an idea, and there's a lot of ideas that we have, but then you put energy into it. And thank you, Dr. Sada, for putting energy into the ideas that are not just passed on to you, but the ideas that you generate. And thank you for also, I think you have a secret to tell us, how many, I think you're the kind of person who has more hours than the rest of us. I don't know where he gets the extra hours. All of us have 24 hours, but Dr. Sada seems to have much more hours than anyone. So you can catch him anytime of the day and seeing we're in different locations. Let me just introduce Dr. Sada Sahu, who is a sociologist and at present is an associate professor at the School of Interdisciplinary and Transnational Studies, and as well as the Indira Gandhi National Open University in New Delhi. His PhD at the Central University of Hyderabad was on the role and the contribution of diaspora in the home country development, especially in the healthcare sector, and it provided significant insights to the dynamics of the diaspora engagement. And before, he has also worked, for instance, with the Institute of Applied Manpower Research, which is a planning think tank organization that's part of the government of India. And he has also completed several international projects on education, on agriculture and employment. We have also, had the privilege of seeing him actually out in the field. And this is why I say he really doesn't have a time off. Sometimes when you have an idea, I remember having a conversation with him about GCM, and he was in the middle of a field, and and I said, "You're back to your agriculture days," and he says, "I wear several hats." So we know that he just doesn't give time to us, but he gives time also to other areas where he's active. He has a wide range of publications covering, diaspora, international migration, public policy, and rural development. And I thought that it's very important that as we all know him as the founder, convener of Global Research Forum on Diaspora and Transnationalism. But I think, some of the students may not know all this information that we have about Dr. Sahu. So Dr. Sahu, over to you to give us your remarks, as well as to give us a flavor of what we can look forward to.
So first of all, I congratulate all the students, because this is like William told, Dr. Rajbardal told, that this is an emotional moment for us, because we are coming to an end, which was looking very difficult beginning, before September, and the pandemic and everything was making us, things as if things are very bad. But because we got together, like Patty told, more time, not more time, it is right people connecting, right time, right ideas. That is what makes miracle. And behind me, there are people like Rakesh, Firoz and all. I name few more. But before I could, make a formal vote of thanks, there is another person who made people coming together. He's Sabri Nair. If Sabri, you can talk even 1 minute, it will be great. Then I'll continue my vote of thanks. Sabri is here.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
And I've been brought in here as a total surprise. But here's my thing: I don't know what to say. I just see big smiles all around. Congratulations to all the graduates of this 6-month certificate program. The excellent work done by Paddy, William, Raj, Sada. I miss Rula in this setting. I mean, it would have been fantastic to have her as well. MFA, CCRM, the Civil Society Action Committee was wonderful listening to Farah and Clara, and what a fantastic group of people. Paddy, one of the things I'm always struck by when Bill Swing starts is he talks about the 3 points, right? The 3 famous Bill Swing points. But the funny thing is, in his 3 points, there are a million ideas, there are a million perspectives, right? And I'm so glad it is true, because I have been in multiple meetings in his presence when he was Director General of the IOM, where he is started with these 3 points, and I'm so glad that he brings it up. He says he's rusty, but every time I look at him, I don't see a more sharper dressed person in the room. So what a fantastic opportunity to have someone like Bill Swing talk to the students here, really an institution by himself. Maybe if I were to, and just as you were calling on me, Sada and Patty, my immediate thought was, how do you conclude a conversation such as this with the generation that is supposed to, what Bill Swing said, the world we need to construct? I'm speaking from Delhi, and I feel things being deconstructed here. I feel like everything is being torn apart. I'm so struck by the number of lives that are being lost for no fault of theirs. I feel that governance issues are being questioned, are being brought to the fore. So when we talk about health and health systems, we talk about governance. And when we talk about migration, then it is exactly what Bill Swing said, political ownership at the highest levels. That is really what this is about. And if it is going to be about political ownership, and if we start looking into our own contributions on this and the current generation and what they need to look at, he said, DNA to do no harm, DNH, right? And I wanted to unpack DNH in 3 words. If we can make sure that we're not about race, that we're not about class, and that we're not about nationality, then focusing it purely from a human-centered approach is enough for us to recognize, irrespective of where we are from, there's no more an us versus them, or you versus me, or north versus south, or developed versus developing. And if we can ensure all of that, then migration not just is clearly a contributor to development, but migration is development. Thanks so much, Patty. Thank you, Sada. Excellent work by everybody. All the best.
Thank you, Sabri, for this very thoughtful words. And I think many things you have to see. And as we are experiencing, this is a very thoughtful process we should go through to question how the migration is handled. And there is no time, I'll be very brief. And today's evening, I really thank Ambassador William Lassie Swing, who has been always listening, whenever we requested, he came. And such a towering personality coming and addressing is a big honor for us. And Dr. Raj Bardoli, she has been a big, pillar of strength for us. All the time she is there as a listener, as a speaker. And William, I must say this, when I talk about bringing William to our, connection, it was Sabri Nair again. He brought together William and Rola. See, this is how Paddy things goes. When right people connect, right ideas come, you don't see the time, is important thing. Time, 24 hours can be 40, 80 hours, and you can produce anything. Right people, right idea, right timing. So this is all we tried to do our best, and right student also we got, who actually, when I work in a university where the success rate is not that much, in the sense the kind of number of students who successfully complete. Here we have qualitatively very high student, high quality student, because we got students from almost 40 to 50 countries, which is itself is a very remarkable thing. And also diversity of background from different subject, different country, different occupational specialization. This is what the diversity you represented, and we have done successfully, and we have also made the things finally so beautifully. We became emotional. It is the end which makes things, how successful you are. And as Ambassador Lassie Swing told, migration will become very important in the 21st century, and managing it is very important. They build everything actually. Today, whatever you see, industry, infrastructure, even today medical support, all are done by migrants, whether it is internal migrants or international migrants. They are the driving force for entire development across the globe. And but unfortunately, because of COVID, they became culprit. But again, you have to bring that narrative back, that where we should celebrate their activities, their contribution to the global development. And I thank all of you, all students who have been, not only you are kind of student, you are very interactive, the way you have done projects, assignments, and everything you have done, the documentary you have done, and the kind of feedback you gave, that is very important for us to improve it. And this is beginning of our relation. It is not end. As William mentioned, this is a socialization, and socialization is not like a producing certificate, distributing like any other program. In many universities they do. This is a socialization for lifelong relationship, where we want to learn from you, from your experience, from your input, and we'll develop this program in better and better, and see how how to make it more engaging, interesting, because that is where the USP of any program is. And I thank Paddy, who has been, our GRBDT mouthpiece. Almost 50% of webinars he moderated, and we are not in the front. It is Paddy who represented GRFDT and made us global. And thank you, Paddy, for doing such a marvelous job without any reward we gave you. Only appreciation we must have given you once or twice, but you have done so well. And thank you our behind the scene, Rakesh, Firoz, Abhishek, and so many. If I take name Ruchi, Smita, Dr. Mahalingam, and so many. And they have been working, thinking, cooperating, and always supporting. And that is what makes the things magical. And I tell you, in the last thing, I just want to conclude, all our collaborators, Migrant Forum in Asia, William and Joanna and Edna and whoever, all of them always, I think William like a philosopher who is there, which guiding us, and that's why he says I don't say no, because I think with such a depth, such experience in migration, something saying, and I have nothing to say, I should say yes only. So, and we have, CCRM, Farah is there representing CCRM. Thank you, Farah. And Clara representing Civil Society Action Committee. Thank you, Clara, coming together and building this 6 month long, now we are 8 months almost, together doing all this thing, webinars, programs and all. This is a great success coming together, and you brought many other also together. Now we are 7 civil society group coming together and bringing another series. So thank you all for making this such a wonderful journey, and it is really emotional, and I thank every one of you. Thank you again.
Dr. Sada, thank you very much for sharing, also already going into the vote of thanks. I think a very difficult, like Shabri has said, a very difficult way to conclude. If you think about 6 months, 23 webinars, 10 special lectures, over 120 policymakers and experts, unpacking this global compact on migration, and most importantly, interacting with many students. And today we celebrate the 91 students, more than half who are women from 20 countries, who have joined us. Really, we are very happy that we are here, that we have reached this part. And thank you also to those who had the vision. We, and glad to hear that the journey continues in the many aspects that have been mentioned already by William and also by Dr. Sada on, look out on the various websites of these organizations, and also in terms of us unpacking and unfolding what came out of assignments. There was a lot of videos, there's a lot of documentaries, there's a lot of information that has, come out of, your own unpacking of how you have viewed the Global Compact for migration in your environments. And this for us is where learning is demonstrated. So we are looking forward to how, we can uplift also some of the outputs that you have produced throughout the sessions into something that's much more interactive. An announcement, and then I will hand over to William in a bit, that we have sent the certificates over to everyone. But just before William came in, Rakesh, I would like to have you on the video. Rakesh. And
sorry,
Feroz,
I'm almost not ready for video.
You are not ready for video. So Rakesh is the guy behind the scenes that, yes, Rakesh, I think that we could not leave, you are holding us, the cloud, you are holding us. We all believe that somehow we're being held by the cloud. I ask you, I think, a million questions while you are, facilitating things in the background, but also just in many other ways. So I thought that it's very important for us to just hear a word from you, Rakesh.
I don't know how to express my feeling and my appreciation for all of us and participants also. I am being a student of migration studies. This is some sort of joy for me. I am happy for migration studies in total. Basically, the way we could able to arrange everything. We had 10 days time to advertise for GCM program. Actually 8 days. Then within 8 days we got so many participants. Then we had to shortlist also. So everything went, and I don't know how everything went so smoothly and so perfectly, but we could able to do this. These 6 months were like a journey which we are all looking for, and this journey actually helped us a lot. I could able to meet with many people, working with William, working with CCRM, working with Civil Society Action Committee, and working with you, Paddy. So everything was wonderful, and thank you. And congratulations to all the participants. We have sent them certificates. If any problem, any confusion, I saw 1 or 2 people with only half name, like first name they have given. If they want their complete name, then also they can let us know. Let us know. We'll send them again. We'll revise and send the certificate again. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakesh. I think another face that we need to see, Feroz, if you're there, we always see you on the Facebook, on the Twitter, and busy posting out there on the social media, but active in the back room. Feroz, something to say for a minute? Okay, maybe Feroz is not ready. William, shall I hand over to you?
Thanks, Patty. And before we conclude, I just want to make 2 announcements. One is my colleague has already posted this other series that we are doing, which is on 5 themes that had come up as crucial themes to look at the kind of migration governance that we want to see in the future, rights-based governance. And we've taken 5 themes from the Global Compact itself. My colleague, Joanna or I guess I have probably put it in the chat. I'll ask them to put it again. The second thing it will be is we have launched a website following this GCM series together with the co-organizers. It's called peoplesmigrationchallenge.org. I am requesting for you to continue in whatever way to be engaged with the process. There is a social media handle to it, there's a YouTube handle to it, and there's a Facebook handle to it. So if you go to People's Migration Challenge, the whole idea was to bring that perspective from the ground of what communities, what we've experienced in this, and challenge in many ways. Challenge meaning the experience of migrants, the challenge that advocates find in pushing for migrant rights, the challenge in making migrants, implementing the GCM. So challenge in so many different ways, but to express that from the ground up is what we have created this website for, and for our group and for people who are in this platform today, for you to continue. The second thing I want to say is, I am sure, and I told this to Sada, I am sure that once we get out of this pandemic, we will try to do something that brings in the different people in this conference together face to face. We are going to try to see how to make that happen. So keep your fingers crossed. If, of course, any of you nationally or sub-regionally do meet up and do touch base with each other, send us your pictures, send us a comment again for the People's Migration Challenge website, Facebook handle, so that we know this community that started off in the time of the pandemic continues to be a community that looks for a better world, a world without borders, a world without discrimination, a world in which people are included and not marginalized. So let's keep this going. So the two announcements that I wanted to make. Please link up with that as much as you can. Thank you so much.
Can we have a photo? Or we can open the video and take a photo.
Yes.
Yes, please.
We
All of
kindly
you are
turn on our
requested. Yes, thank you.
video.
Maybe.
What is the sign?
Yes, any
The
sign you
peace
can
sign.
show. Okay. Thank you all. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you to also all the friends who've been with us. Mr. Noel Ben, we see you in the room. Thank you for always being present. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
This is my teammate. She keeps disappearing.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. Stay blessed.
For sure, sometime in the future.
Take
Everybody,
care.
congratulations. Thank you. We'll meet again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, until we meet again. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Can I see Rakesh's face one more time?
Yes, why not?
Nice meeting you, Rakesh.
Happy to be.
Khadija, you only see him in the background, isn't it? And
Yes,
actually,
he's
I've
a
just noticed
wonderful
that
man.
Abhishek, I'm only seeing you now. I hadn't seen you before. You were hiding somewhere on my Zoom, Abhishek. You managed to escape.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm going to miss you all greatly.
No, we'll have.
Thank you.
Keep in touch.
Continue with us. There's many activities. Continue with us.
We are going to offer many courses also in future, so be with us. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.